Yeah. Okay. Backside not required. Right. Okay. Right. Huh. So very good morning, all of you. Somehow missed for 1 or 2 weeks in a way, but still let us go ahead. So this week, I believe the very important, the issue much of debated, and definitely we have in the examination point of view both the prelims and more than the prelims, even the mains, crucial on the aspect of sedition, the Supreme Court's observations as well as holding the issue. Okay, so let us start with that issue, because the other day the Supreme Court hold it, right? Discussion. So it put on hold and stating that it's a colonial act. So what is the sedition is all about? Why the Supreme Court suspended the trials and proceedings, everything relating to the sedition? Because one aspect is very clear, the specific sedition is mentioned in section 124A of Indian Penal Code. Okay. So what is sedition? In what way it is going against the Indian Constitution? How it gets misused? Using is one thing. As it is getting misused in recent years, finally the court came up with that. Okay. So out of 500 plus cases, it looks like hardly a couple of cases, okay, 7-8 cases only proved. In all the way, it is not. So that clearly shows that something is going wrong. It's misuse. So what do you mean by sedition? అసలు అంటే ఏంటి సెడిషన్ అంటే? తెలుగులో దేశద్రోహం అంటారు. Okay, you are doing something against your own motherland. You are conspiring against your own country. Okay, then it will be termed as the sedition. Anti-national, anti-Indian. Specifically, you are going. Whatever your activities, these are against your own country. Okay, so instead of being a patriotic, a loyal, you are doing something against. Okay, then this act will come into form, because crime is the crime. Okay, you are not supposed to do anything against the unity, integrity of the country, security of the nation. Okay, where it is mentioned in the Constitution, the words now I said, Okay, whatever you do it should be in tune with the unity, integrity, or whatever you speak. Okay, you have the freedom of speech and expression. Which article? Article 19, 1A, to be more specific. Article 19 is in general speaking about freedom, 6 freedoms. Out of the very first freedom is freedom of speech and expression. Okay. So whatever you say, whatever you do, it should not, because there is what you call reasonable restrictions imposed by the constitution itself, and no one is going to be questioned. But the problem is it is getting misused. The moment you criticize the government, that was treated as criticizing the nation itself. That's what unfortunately is happening. So if you don't like the policies of the Modi, or if you don't like the policies of the KCR, something like that, you are at liberty to criticize. Criticizing the government, the policies of the government, is it your right or not? Which right it is? Civil right or political rights? It's a political right. Only the citizen can enjoy the political rights, like right to vote, right to contest in the elections, right to hold government jobs. Like this, you have the criticizing the government is a political right. Only citizens can do, not the others. Okay. For example, if the foreigner has done, okay, few years back, I think 2 years back, when German students participated along with this anti-CAA movement, then they were asked to go out from the country. Okay, they were arrested and forcibly sent them back. They are not supposed to be. They don't have any right to criticize the policies of the government. Okay, like this. Okay, only citizens can do so. This is a political right. Remember. So freedom of speech and expression, that includes all these things. Okay, but at the same time, there are occasions. Even the other day, we said, the person of the Air Force, he was get arrested for passing on the very sensitive information to the foreign countries. Perhaps he was honey trapped. There's a different issue what for and how he was trapped. But finally, he did something against the nation, because the very secret defense information has passed on to the foreign country. Then we can understand, if you put the case of sedition on him, yes, he is doing something against the nation, but not otherwise. So as it get misused more, so the finally Supreme Court suspended its operation. It has not deleted, it is not anything else. That means, what is the implications of it? The moment suspended, you are not supposed to use it. Hitherto, no question of going for trials. Okay, it will take a lot of time and you will not get the bail at all. But now, whoever, even the existing cases, Supreme Court clearly says, if somebody is already, the case was booked on him, they can approach for appropriate bail and do so. Okay. So this section you have to keep in mind very much. Section 124 of what? Indian Constitution or IPC? It is an IPC, Indian Penal Code. Okay. Because it's a criminal law that take care of it. So court very clearly said it hopes and expects center and states to restrain from registering FIRs, that is first information reports, continuing investigation or take coercive measures under this section. Okay. So till this is over. What do you mean by colonial provision? So it was done during the British era. So when you say this, whatever be the law here, it clearly stated that when a person, okay, through words, the word clearly mentioned, either the words or that is spoken or written, signs, visible representation or otherwise. So this is almost all misused regularly. Incites or seeks to incite. You may not do it directly also. Some things you are encouraging other person to do a crime. You are facilitating somebody to do a crime. That's also comes as insights or seeks to incite the hatred. That means you are loving your motherland good, but you are hating somebody. Or you are loving one person is good, but you are hating somebody is important, especially the religious issues most important. Or the contempt for the government constituted by law in India. Contempt is you are not following the orders of the court. So this is what the section of 124A of this Indian Penal Code is talking about. And that is a colonial British time and is used against our freedom fighters, including Gandhi, Tilak, everybody. Right? Because at that time they are doing something against the nation, and they against. But still, after getting independence, we continued this. And the moment the section imposed, the punishment varies from 3 years jail sentence to life sentence. That is minimum 3 years up to life. Plus, it's a non-bailable. Getting bail is a horrible task. The moment FIR lodged, there end the matter. If you want to punish somebody or put him in jail for some time at least, case may not stand, then they started using this. So, though I mean the history, because the issue is involved here, all these that the British laws we assigned to the Macaulay, then law member. Okay, member means the law minister we call now. So initiated in 1837, but finally inserted only in 1870. The reason why we call 152 years old act. Okay, though the British government itself talking from 1837, and finally it is done only in 1870 into this section. Rarely they will ask who has done it, but it's very much associated with Macaulay, long back onwards. And Indian Penal Code 1860, even today name continues IPC 1860. Indian Contract Act. Okay, still we are continuing those British acts. So that is the reason why a number of times even the Prime Minister talked about, the CJ talked about, let us undo them, have our own. Okay, but somehow our lawmakers are not having time to do so. So these are the few points which you have to keep in mind vis-a-vis the sedition from the prelims point of view. So for the mains, there is no ending. That itself will take about an hour or two to discuss about it. So what is sedition? How or where it is now? Okay, that is Indian Penal Code section 124A. What Supreme Court has done it is it just suspended its operation, and government too agreed for reconsideration. So shortly they are going to be introduced in the parliament, either any changes in the wording or completely they may undo that. So let us wait and see that process. Then the history part, mainly 1870, it was inserted. That word you have to keep in mind, and the person at that time responsible is Macaulay as usual. Then the constitutional provisions, Article 19 mainly. Okay, of course, others are also concerned, as you have the freedom of speech and expression. It includes a lot. Okay, 19(1)(a), you have to keep in mind. Then at the same time, the freedom of speech and expression is not absolute. It followed by reasonable restrictions. So what are the restrictions? Especially in this case, you may say this is the unity, integrity of the nation, sovereignty of the country, right? Law and order, okay, public order, everything. Where it was mentioned, again in the Article 19 itself is mentioned or not? Which clause? So just now I said 19(1)(a). 19(2), these conditions are mentioned. 19 clause 2. So the specific provisions you need to aware of it. Okay. So any doubt? Because once we get inside again, the number of the part is there. Then one more case, if at all, you have to keep in mind in this case. Previously, the Supreme Court, when the case was filed, why we have this one, accepted this act, let it be so. So they filed against that, but so court is in favor of continuing the act also. Though now court says or is suspended, but previously the same Supreme Court upheld the existence of the Sedition Act in the famous case Kedarnath Singh judgment. But it says very clearly, though it upheld the constitutional validity, but clarified that criticism of the government cannot be labeled sedition unless accompanied by a call for violence. But unfortunately, the caution was not adhered to by the government of the day. Okay, started refusing. So now finally it came into, and in this case, the constitutional point will come into form. Can now Supreme Court override its own judgment? Can it declared any law as invalid? What is that wording is called? If the court declared any law or executive order as unconstitutional, it's called as hmm? You have the wording right, judicial review. So what do you mean by judicial review? Reviewing its own decision, huh? No, it is not that. Judicial review implies it reviewing what? The legislations and executive orders. Legislations means laws made by the parliament or by state legislature. Executive orders means generally we call ordinances. Who issued the ordinance? President. Is an executive order. Laws making is the prerogative, a privilege of legislature. But when legislature is not in session, executive issues the orders in the form of ordinance, in the form of GOs. Okay, ordinance issued when the legislature is not in session. GOs in continuation, a detailed version. Okay, so if these are against the provisions of the constitution, then court will have the power to declare them as ultra vires, that is unconstitutional, null and void, not valid, repeating the word. Okay, that is called judicial review. Okay, that is one aspect. Second aspect is it has the power to review its own judgment. Okay, simply that is called the power of review. Okay, it's not judicial review. Okay, a power of review. A procedure is that if, for example, a 2 members judgment, Supreme Court delivered judgment, it should be more than that. If it is a 5 members like the Kedarnath case, it should be more than that. Okay, number of judges should be more while reviewing its own. For example, best case we have Golaknath and Keshavanda Bharti cases, right? You know those things very much. So first Golaknath or Keshavanda Bharti? Keshavanda Bharti. Sure? First is the Golaknath. GK good. Okay. First G will come, later the K. Golaknath case of 1960. When? 8 or 9? 7, 8, 9. 67, 68, 69. Or 70. Year? Year అవసరమే కదా. Number of times they asked the chronological order. Civils law. these cases. Which cases first? Put in a chronological order. And okay. The year is also Keshwanda Bharti case 73. You could try to recollect. It's 60s only and later 60s. Sure? 67. So, he said Parliament had the power to amend the any provision. Whereas Keshwanda Bharti case said Parliament has no power. Right? Of course, conditions apply. Parliament has the power. It's not no power. Subject to Keshwanda Bharti case said Parliament can amend the constitution. Subject to what? Basic structure of the constitution. Without affecting the basic structure, you can. So that means it reviewed its own judgment. So that is previously 8-member judgment. Now it is 13 members bench, and that is the biggest bench so far, the constitutional bench. We don't have that much of 13 judges so far. Okay. So now we have to, once it is going to be reconstituted, it should be more than that. Okay. Right now it's a 3 members bench of the Supreme Court is looking into. As previously it's just a 2, no issue. And possibility of reconstituting into 5. Okay. Once the government came up with its version. So remember that these constitutional points as well. Okay. Then of course same thing related to the Supreme Court. Recently 2 more judges are appointed. Justice Shubhan Shudulia as well as Pardwala. Of course, this exam point of view may or may not be much, but one crucial point is the full strength of 34 judges you have. That means Supreme Court strength of so far it's not operating in its full strength. Okay, so now you have the complete strength. So 34 judges. Now tell me, is it 34 includes Chief Justice or excludes Chief Justice? Hmm? Okay. Also, why is this 1967? Right, Jyotilal mentioned. Okay, good. Includes or excludes? Includes. So 33 plus 1. Okay, that's the point also you have to keep in mind. Who appoints the judges? Uh, Appointed by whom? The president. Under which article? Good. Under which article of the Constitution? As recently, the regular appointments are going on, unlike previously. And definitely the article, because out of 395 articles, at least you have to keep in mind around 50. Out of this, now this is very important. Which article? 1? Article 1? 2? 1, 2? Next what? 33 plus CJ. Good enough, including CJ. Right. Rohit Lal and Jalvita. You're right. Which article of the Constitution? 120? As starting with 124 from the beginning itself. Sure? Yeah, 124 itself. Then one more point also you have to keep in mind is whoever be the senior most judges, generally they will preside over the, they will be the chief justices. It's a custom, and a peculiar situation is happening now. Within 3 months, you are going to have 3 persons, okay, 3 judges have the chief justice. So present CJ, of course, Ramana is going to retire August 2022. So keep in mind your examination. If it is civil prelims, no problem. If it is the groups, depend upon. Okay, I am doubtful. August prelims will happen. Any date came? As for recent days, I am not aware of the much issue. No date, right? The date is yet to announce. So by the time it may be Lalit is going to retire in November itself. Then once Chandrachud, of course, he will continue there for 2 years. Okay, as still the youngest, so no issue for this. So this year till August you have to keep in mind, and till November this. After that for 2 years no issue. Okay, examination point. So be cautious on this. So make this one. So Supreme Court will see, they said, the 3 different CJS within 3 months. That is August, September, October, November, then immediately, right? The December, once you are talking about this period of 3 months. So 3 Chief Justices. Definitely an attention. And sometimes it's a matter of question. How is that such a short term you will assign? Okay. But remember, becoming a Chief Justice, is there any provision in the Constitution who should be chosen as a Chief Justice? Indian Constitution, any article is there who should be? Nothing like this. Okay? Constitution is silent on this. So we have the custom, a tradition established that whoever be the senior most, that senior most judge will become the Chief Justice. Senior most judge means where seniority? In the Supreme Court, not in the High Court. Okay? In the Supreme Court itself, the seniority will be taken into consideration. And except once or twice, that is after the Keshavanda Bharati case, okay, Mrs. Gandhi has undone this. So otherwise, most often the government is adherent to that. No, you don't want to take the risk in a way. Even regarding Ramana, this issue also occurred. Okay, everybody accepted that may not get the chance, but somehow it was adhered to. So there is no provision in the Constitution relating to appointment of this person or that person, or qualification otherwise called of CJI. So as a matter of convention, a seniority principle was adhered. So otherwise it's a prerogative of the president, because president will appoint finally. So it can appoint anybody as the Chief Justice out of the judges of the Supreme Court. Okay. Then of course, from the mains point of view is very important, but at the same time, I'm just adding this one. There's a term called parents and spatula jurisdiction recently, because few Latin words they will invoke it, and Madras High Court invoke this parents spatula jurisdiction. So this is nothing but Mother Nature as a living being. That means with all corresponding rights, duties, liabilities of a living person. Anything you understand? And if you start from here, you are able to understand. Otherwise, no. Have you heard the article 14? What is in this article 14? Article 14. Right to equality. Anybody can say the wording of article 14? Means it's very, very important, because you need to be aware. One article is 14, another is 21. Out of the entire fundamental rights, these two articles you have to know the verbatim. Okay, verbatim means word to word, as it is. As it is a single word, okay, single line. It's not even a paragraph. Okay, these two articles out of entire fundamental right. Okay. So 14, when you say this, the right to equality, all are equal before the eyes of law, and equal protection is granted to all without any discrimination you are taking. So the word is all persons. Okay. So Article 14 talking about the word persons. When you're talking about all persons, that includes what? Citizens as well as aliens. That's point one. Okay. When you use the word person, number one is so when you are talking about, because this is very important issue when you talk about person, it use the word. Okay. So persons includes number one citizens and aliens. Aliens means foreigners living in India. Okay. Not from other planets. Okay. I'm not talking about this concern. Okay. So the citizens as well as the non-citizens, otherwise called, whoever lives in India, it applies to. That means everybody within the territory of India. Okay. That means the Article 14 applies to all, whereas 19 applies only citizens. Just now I said there is a political rights. Okay, the few only for citizens. Few. Then second, and most important thing is there is a concept called legal person. What do you mean by legal person? The companies, the organizations registered under the authority of the government. But Companies Act, once it is concerned, okay, is also taken as a legal personality. Now you can sue, and that company can sue you if the terms and conditions of the agreement not honored. So the person includes the organizations and companies. That means simply we use the word legal person. Okay. Then with this application of the legal maxim, okay, which now Madras High Court made it, okay, parentis, there's another word called natural person. This issue mainly raised by Allahabad High Court, and it declared that river Ganga is also constituted as a legal person. It will come under article. Now Ganga can sue you. Ganga Mata will come and file a case against you if you polluted river Ganga. Okay, if you throw any plastic bottles or something else, yes. Of course, maybe in our Puranas, Ganga Mata directly may come, but in reality may not be. So represented by an organization who will take care, okay, caretakers, okay, custodians, the guardians, whoever be, okay, an organization on this behalf. And of course, that case is still pending in the Supreme Court. It is yet to deliver. Can it consider? So now that was supported by the present Madras High Court. Okay. So this parents patch, this is now they're talking about what the order was spelled while responding to petition from official who sought quash the proceedings against him for allegedly granting land deed for government land classified as the forest land. So some land was classified forest land, it was leased to somebody else. How is that? You have to protect the environment. Okay. So environment is very important because the pollution and other issues are there now. So giving the sanctity to the laws of the nature is crucial. So, to give a fillip to this environmental cause, the Madras High Court came out. In a way, it is a continuity of the Allahabad High Court. Okay. Now we have to wait and see. If this be the trend is concerned, everything can be done. Okay. So, what Supreme Court is going to say about it? Okay. And this wording, parents patriae, just remember the Latin words, considering the mother nature as a living person. Okay. So, it said that the indiscriminate destruction of the nature will endanger the existence of flora and fauna. Okay. Then another thing relating to Supreme Court recently is that there is a pill fight. Pill is PIL means, pardon, public interest litigation. Okay. What it means? Yeah, third person. Okay, filing a case by third person. If I am affected, then only I can. But otherwise, I am not affected. Still, I will file a case, keeping the public cause. Okay. So, Bill was pretty kind talking about. They talked of the validity of the section 2F of the National Commission for Minority Education Institutions. All the things. What do you mean by minority? Is it Muslims, Christians are only minority, or Hindus also minority? This recently there is much talked about. A case was filed, declared Hindus should be declared as a minority in the states like Jammu and Kashmir, Nagaland, like this. As is a political initially, now that appeal was filed in the court and court accepted this, okay, review, ready to review it, then that got the significance. Okay. So, this bill clearly stating that the existing law is an arbitrary, contrary to Article 14, 15, 21, 29, 30 of the Constitution. And Section 2F says minority for the purpose of this act means a community notified by central government. That means who is a minority, who is not. That is one important. Secondly, when you are talking about this 29 and 30, this is very important for you. What is this? This, of course, you are aware. This 29 and 30, main issue is that what is that fundamental right is known as, which deals with the 29 and 30? Huh? Huh. Right to religion? No. Yeah, right. Cultural and educational rights. Out of this existing 6 fundamental rights, right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, then right to freedom of religion, then followed is the cultural education. Last one is the constitutional remedies. Okay. So, this 29 and 30 is that. And this is the only fundamental right out of 6 exclusively meant for the protection of minority. A number of times it asked in the examination, including our group 1, group 2 servers. Okay, all competitive. So, which of the following fundamental rights meant for the protection of minorities? Okay. So, you have to remember that. Now, the question is, minority means who? Less in number. Less in number in what? As per the constitution. Okay. Only 2 criteria. What are the 2 criteria? One is religion, another is language. So, minority in India will be categorized only on 2 grounds. Okay. Either religious or linguistic. This is very important, you have to keep in mind, and this spelled out very clearly. 29, 30. Okay. Criteria for deciding minorities is only on 2 criteria, religious and linguistic. For example, in talking about linguistic, Telugus, we are majority here. But when you go to our neighbor Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, you are a minority, and vice versa. Okay. Of course, because in India, the language, the issue was resolved finally, and state was carved out on the basis of language by first SRC, right? State Reorganization Commission. Okay, and from 1956 onwards, you have this. So we don't have much issue. Who is majority, who is minority? But religion, the country is not. I mean, the states are not carved out on the basis of religion, isn't it? Finally, the country itself divided on the basis of religion. So, whatever be the Muslim population, be it the Pakistan. Now, the East and West Pakistan, that is now the Bangladesh. There's a Muslim. So, remaining, we don't want it. So, states were not carved out on the basis of religion. So, finally said who should be if that be the case. It left to the government. Constitution has not spelled out clearly who should be. Left to the central government. That means central government means what? Parliament. Okay, Parliament can do so. Who should be, who should not. So accordingly, act was made. So as per this act, and later number of changes and everything, okay, 1992, they made only few religions and as the things, that is Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs, Parsis, they are treated as minority and not the Hindus, because entire India is taken as a unit. Okay? As it is taken. So, for example, statistics says the Hindus are almost 81% of Indian population, whereas Muslims presently, okay, 12.9, and Christians 2.4, Sikhs 1.9, Buddhists 0.7, Jains and all other religions. So these are the thing is concerned. Okay. So this is as per 2011 census, not 21. Why? Yeah, 21 has not happened. So still we have to take that census into consideration. So when the Hindus now, why they are filing cases? Because in this stage they are still minority. So in the state of Lakshadweep, I mean the Union Territory of Lakshadweep, 2.77% only they constitute. Even if the Punjab state, 38% only are, not the entire. So Punjab, Manipur, and Jammu and Kashmir, of course, 28% is that. So Meghalaya, Nagaland, Mijapur. This is only, of course, the Lakshadweep, the Union Territory they kept. So in all the so total states part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 states and 1 Union Territory, they are in minority. So why can't we get this issue? Why don't you consider categorize religion like language on the basis of the jurisdiction of the state? So that is an issue now. So we have to wait and see as this court has taken up the decision what it is going to stay on this issue. So from exam point of view, you have to keep in mind very clearly is the minority, because article 29 and 30 specially meant for the protection of minorities, and minority was categorized on religious and linguistic, and with that 29-30 they can establish. 29 is they can promote their distinct culture and heritage, and 30 is educational institutions can be established under this, okay, minority education institution. For example, number of Telugu people have their medical colleges, engineering colleges in our neighboring Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, right? Even in here, the Gujarati schools, Kannada schools, all these are there. So like this, they can establish the minority and a special facilities, the privileges are there for them, and they can enjoy it only by minorities, not by the others. So now they are insisting on this. You carved out language, good, but what about religion? Why don't you do the same thing? So when they, in the beginning they said no, the 14 is going against. 14 is equality. When you carved out on language, similar is religion. Why you are differentiating? Isn't it? The issue is that. Plus, of course, you have the religious freedom is there. Okay, so 25. So that all these issues involved here. So let us wait and see how the judgment of the Supreme Court will come out in the text. Even Article 25, one more also, if at all in depth, if they ask you, who is an Hindu? Hindu includes Buddhists, Jains, and Sikhs. These three religions also included as part of Hindu. See this. So sometimes there is what you call uncertainty vis-a-vis with the reality is concerned. So those need to be addressed properly. Okay, because the Buddhism, Jainism, or Sikhism originated against Hinduism. Okay, few person came out and done it. And in India, most of the Muslims as well as the Christians, they are also from Hinduism. They converted finally. Then how do you treat them on par with us? Even that case is also pending in the Supreme Court from long years back, dealing that. Anyhow, Minorities Act recognized that. Okay, though officially it is not dealing and treating these religions as minorities. Any doubt on this? Anyhow, recently regarding Kashmiri Pandits may be linked with the religion as well as the recent movie. What is that? Kashmiri Files. Huh? So all this talked about much about the Pandits. So 2 seats were reserved for them. Where in Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly. So recently a delimitation commission was appointed. You know pretty well, last time we discussed about the delimitation commission. Delimitation commission is the what it is doing, carving out the jurisdiction of the constituencies, either a legislative constituency or a parliamentary constituency. Niyojakvarga. What are the boundaries of the constituency? That will be decided by the delimitation commission. So recently on the delimitation commission was appointed relating to Jammu and Kashmir, and that one of the recommendation is that this Kashmiri Pandits should be given 2 seats. They should be reserved for this in Jammu and Kashmir. So who is in this? These are the three. So this panel chaired by retired Supreme Court Judge Ranjan Desai, Delimitation Commission of Jammu and Kashmir was headed by him. And in this election, okay, in addition to retired judge as Chief Justice, you have the election commissioner, okay, Chief Election Commissioner, as well as the State Election Commissioner. They are the members of this, okay, for every delimitation commission. That is, they are ex officio, okay, whereas retired Supreme Court judge has to be appointed, okay, for every delimitation commission. So right now, the Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra, of course, you have going to get a new Chief Election Commissioner from tomorrow, right? Yeah. So the issue now, why I keep it here, immediately followed by this religion issue, is that can seats be reserved on the basis of religion? Is a big constitutional question in future. Okay. Hitherto, no doubt, some seats were reserved for SCs, STs. Okay. At the state level, you have the BCs, and of course, there's a demand for women reservation, though officially it is not there. In general, the political parties are adhering to that. Okay, seats are reserved for it, but it's based on the caste. In India, the concept of social justice is based on the caste. Okay, because hitherto certain our fellow brethren was oppressed, suppressed, and depressed. So let give them the helping hand. With this intention, you have given. So it's the caste-based reservation. Okay. Now, how far it is going to be? If the religion has taken the criteria, definitely this is a demand elsewhere also in future. Then how you are going to address that issue? Is it in tune with the provisions of the constitution? Okay. Is it in tune with this article 14 as well as okay, the thing other articles are done? A question mark will arise. And secondly is one more issue you have to keep in mind is previously we have 2 seats for Anglo Indians, and these are nominated, not the reserved. The difference you have to understand. Now in the Lok Sabha, 2 seats were Anglo Indians. Anglo Indian is not based on any religion, right? Though they looks like Christians, they only said European origin. Okay, even nominated criteria is a new and we have done away with that right now. So previously 2 seats in Lok Sabha. How many seats in State Assembly for Anglo Indians? 1. Only 1 for state level. Is a nominated. Okay, not the reserved. Even if you take that issue into consideration. Similarly, Rajya Sabha, 12 seats are there for nomination criteria based on not on caste, not on religion, nothing to do. Based on their services to the nation, the public service, economics, right? And other domains once you have it. But nothing to do with the. So how you will take religion as a criteria? Now the delimitation committee recommended this. Will the government accept? A bigger question mark. If accepted, second part is concerned, will the court will declare it is constitutional? Okay, but still, okay, delimitation commission has done this. The Kashmiri Pandits, so they have their own reason on this part. Okay, then yeah, where is this? So who is the new? Yeah, here. Sorry, one more. So Rajiv Kumar, now he is going to be the Chief Election Commissioner, and tomorrow, right, May 15th, is going to take the charge. But anyhow, the present decision has done by Sushil Chandra, so he is going to replace him. Who will appoint the Chief Election Commissioner? President appoints the election commissioners as well as the Chief Election Commissioner, and you have remembered very clearly that our election commission is a multi-member, not a single member. Multi-member means how many? 3. 2 plus 1. 2 election commissioners, 1 Chief Election Commissioner. So previously is an election commissioner, now elevated to the Chief Election Commissioner. How long you will continue in office? Or it's Chief Election Commissioner, what the tenure? 6 years or 65 years of age. Okay, 6 years or 65 years of age, whichever comes earlier. Okay, I will continue. So that the term of the chief election official. Okay. Then of course, back to this slide on Lokpal. Of course, Lokpal institution is not a new, but why it become it is it got into a new office at World Trade Center. So first time it got an office. Say Lokpal was constituted or the Lokpal bill was passed and it became act way back 2013. Came into force from 14, but 13 itself act was passed. What for the Lokpal? Lokpal, Lokayukta. You are the two constituents. Just a minute. One question came it up, sir. What about Anglo Indians reservation? Under which category it comes? I think I addressed this issue. Okay. Any doubt on this? Anglo Indians means again, as the question came it up, they are of persons of European origin, as the Britishers, French, the Dutch, they all came to India long back, and most of them settled in India, and their marital relations and everything. They have the families, and the present generation they are not aware of those incidents. So to recognize that aspect, we are given reservation. So nothing to do with the religion here. It's a temporary provision. How it was undone? Simply, all reservations are for 10 years. If you are not extended, there end the matter. Automatically they will go. No need for a deliberate effort by the parliament to delete that provision. Okay. If you don't extend it, the same thing case happen. Even regarding other reservations, SC, ST, if you don't extend, automatically they will go. So like this. Okay. Right. So back to here. So the Lokpal, Lokayukta, you have two institutions. For what? Anti-corruption, for corruption. Don't say for corruption. It's anti-corruption bodies. So they are the high-end level. Look into the corrupt practices, including the ministers and the prime minister. Okay. Other bodies they will not look into that. Whereas Lokpal, Lokayukta, they will look into. So present Lokpal is that. Okay. Even the allegations against the prime minister, they will look into it. Lokayukta at the state level. So last time we discussed this, okay, when the Kerala Lokayukta issue has arisen. I don't know how many of you recollected that. And Supreme Court insisting, though Lokpal Act came into force, the Lokpal was not appointed. Only in 2020, right? Okay. Lokpal was appointed, but he was not given office. They started functioning from the Hotel Ashoka. Okay. A large room, right? Something like we consider this. And now they got an office. The reason why everybody, at last, the government is recognizing in a way. But anyhow, in this context, try to recollect. So when the Lokpal Act 2013, then present Lokpal, Pinakani, Chandra Bose, PC Bose, the present. Anywhere given? Yeah, it's not there. Lokayukta also, whoever writing now TSPSC and all the things, advisable to remember the Lokayukta of Andhra Pradesh as well as Lokayukta of Telangana. Done. So coming to this next appointment, Lieutenant General Manoj Pandey is going to be the army chief now, because army, navy, air forces, there are three chiefs, and all these three, anybody can name them, others? Other than, because it's an army, okay, recent, air force, navy. What's the name? These three you have to remember for your exam point of view. And Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary. Chief Marshal means Air Force, good. And Hari Kumar, Chief of the Navy. Okay. Then of course, one peculiar feature is they are all from the 61st NDA batch. NDA is National Defence Academy. After intermediate, right? If you want to enter into the defence services directly, you can write your examination, or after degree CDS, Conductment Defence, and it's from the same batch. All these are. This is a peculiar feature. Rarely that happens. But anyhow, right now General Manoj Pandey, V.R. Chaudhary, and Hari Kumar. So remember that. Then another, the woman power was shown as the first Indian female always counts in a way. Priyanka Mohite, she has become the first Indian female to climb the 5 peaks above 8,000 meters at one. Okay, so Mount Everest plus the, right. So that itself is an adventure. The issue. So either two men is to do that. Now the women they are ready that this thing is concerned. So as the first important. Now in this case you have to recollect who is the first woman climbed the Mount, Indian woman climbed Mount Everest. Bachendri Paul, Indian, no? Sure. Right. Recollect those things as well. So she was a biotech graduate as an habit part is concerned. So she climbed the Kanchenjunga. Kanchenjunga is India's highest peak and the world third. What overall highest is Mount Everest in a way. So Kanchenjunga, Indian part, and the world it is. Then of course again the Mount Everest. Another issue is Kami Sherpa. 26 times he climbed, not 1, 2, 3 times. So that itself is a record. చిన్న కొండ ఒక్కసారి ఎక్కాలంటేనే ఎక్కబుద్ధి కాదు. ఈ మెట్లు 3 ఫ్లోర్లు అంటే ఏం ఎక్కుతామని నేను వదిలేస్తాను. సో it is 26 times, okay, climb Mount Everest. So what is the height of Mount Everest? Okay, now recently as it was changed, okay, 0.86 meters, though still exams can carrying this 888848, but it's 86, then the foot level this is considered. So first time the Rita count is 1994. Now 1994, see the age also, right? The persons and everything. Anyhow, record is record. So Kami Sharpa. Then another person, because getting award one time is different. Second time also, that too an Indian getting it sometimes, right? No doubt a crucial. Recently, the Pulitzer prizes, okay, as announced. Of course, you have the list of prizes and different parties, journalism and other public services, literature. It was announced, but this is an important point you have to keep in mind. So Danish Siddiqui was posthumously won this prize for images of the COVID tour. So in his feature photography category, so already was awarded in way back 2018. Now he got the second time this award. So because of this, yes, from our point of view is important. Then of course obituaries as Santur Maestro Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma, okay, recently passed away because of this, okay, the significance. So Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma belongs to, okay, Santur Maestro. So who is the recipient of the Padma Bhushan as well. And Hariprasad Chaurasia is known for this, and together they composed this. Then another recently the book The Struggle for Police Reforms in India by Prakash Singh, and as it was okay, released by the Vice President of India Venkaya Garu, then we found this, okay, good enough to recollect this one. And from the students of the mains, okay, and the public administration, advisable to even read at least the essence of the book, may not be the entire book part, okay. So is an IPS officer Prakash. Then one more regarding ISRO milestone. So Chandrayaan Mars mission, now the Venus mission we are going to have in 2024. So in this contest, though is your subject of geography, I am sure that everybody is very good at it. Okay. So know about what is that planet is called? Red planet, isn't it? Is it the red planet? Mars or red planet? And what is that planet is called? Venus? The brightest planet next to Moon or moon planet? Okay, right. Anyhow, okay, because there are the few things you have to keep in mind. The ISRO full form, headquarters, chairman of ISRO, sure, good. So few statistics, if at all, you have to keep in mind. Venus is the second planet from the sun and sixth in the solar system, and named after the Roman god, and is the second brightest natural object, if at all you call it, after the moon. Okay, the reason why it's very visible for us all the way. And one more point also it is a day on Venus is longer than a year. One day means is more than an year in the Venus. But it has the most of the features of the temperature and all the things, okay, almost all near to the earth. So we have to wait and see how the researches and all the things will be done. And other countries are doing their missions. For example, America started 62-74 itself, whereas recently the Japan 2015 Akatsuki, they made it also. So all other countries also mainly America, Russia, Japan, and Europe, and now India is getting ventured into this issue. Then of course National Technology Day recently we celebrated because everything is technology now. We said with technology we are using anyway. When we celebrated this technology. Hmm. So we are using the technology but not taking cognizance of this. Okay. So you'll remember only few days. Valentine's Day, Human Rights Day, AIDS Day. 11th May, na? Sure? Good. 11th May. So 11th May was observed as Technology Day. From 1998 onwards, you are observing this day. Okay. And 1998, a significance for us, we conducted nuclear test in Pokhran. Is it the first test or second test, third test? Third, second test. First is when A year before or during that period? Emergency in 75. A year before or after or the same year? Hmm. So what is the name of operation? Yeah, good. Smiling Buddha. Now second nuclear test. Buddha smiled again. Okay. Right. So we considered as the PNE, peaceful nuclear explosion, both at Pokhran. Pokhran is which state? Rajasthan. Then similarly, now this year we made it Hansa 3 aircraft. So it's the first indigenous aircraft was tested now. So as a symbolically, so you have to remember this Hansa 3 as well. What is Hansa 3? So it is a first indigenous aircraft. We ourselves making it is. So hitherto we are getting from elsewhere. And in addition to that, a successful test firing of the Trishul missile also we carried on. So two things. So what is Trishul missile? Surface to air to air. ఏలే త్రిశూల్ రైట్ ఇలా ఉంటుంది కదా కింద నుంచి పైకి ఉంటుంది. సో సర్ఫేస్ టు air that itself is a short range missile. Now they are making wanted to medium around 25 kilometers up it will be tested. What are the other missiles that we have? Agni is long range ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missile. Agni up to 6,000 kilometers we have. Agni is a long range. Prithvi, a medium range, okay, around 500 kilometers it is. Agni starts from 600, below is the Prithvi, 250 to 500 kilometers. And Nog is anti-tank missile, okay, and Trishul is from surface to air. Akash, air to air. Even the names clear. Of course, Akash we have two versions, surface to air as well as the air to air versions. Okay. And who is the father of missiles? Abdul Kalam was considered as the father of missile development in India. So the entire missile. So where the missiles generally launch? Pardon? Wheeler Island, now named after Abdul Kalam Islands. Where is that? Orissa. Okay, in Chandipur district of Orissa. Try to recollect these points also similarly. Then of course, as this day, technology. So chemistry technology hub was had so TSPSC చేసేవాళ్ళంతా advisable. Again is the first one. So as it's the first, India's first, not in the past. So chemical technology hub. So number of first was in Hyderabad. You have to be all the way. Okay, keep in mind India's first chemical technology hub is going to be in Hyderabad. So that's happening in collaboration with the pharmaceutical majors, Dr. Labs, okay, Reddy Labs, as well as the Loris Labs they are doing for this. So this is called FCT hub, flow chemistry technology. Okay, FCT. So at Dr. Reddy's lab itself. Okay. Then one more Telangana news, as Netana Bima scheme is there. Recently it was extended to insurance coverage of the handloom and power loom weavers. Okay. As it was extended, advisable to keep it. So Netana Bima. So it's an insurance coverage of 5 lakhs rupees for the viewers under this scheme, on par with the Raitu Bima insurance scheme. So it's age group of 18 to 59. The program Telangana is very important. Okay, who you are writing here are AP Nappudu. So you have to be thorough with this program in detail, like the age coverage, amounts coverage. These are also important. So it seems that 29 crore rupees have been sanctioned for implementing this. And another two recent urban forest park mobile app is there, and Mana Uru Manabadi program also here. So advisable, as these are the recent ones, so advisable to go through those schemes. Then one more, first India's observatory also was set up, but not in Andhra here or Telangana. It's in Odisha, or neighboring country, neighboring state. Sorry, it was made it up. So India's as the first tribal, again exam point of view is important, observatory. So it's called TREHOW. So the full form, sometimes they may ask you also, advisable. Okay. TREHOW means, okay, a tribal. TRA stands for tribal. Okay. H for health, O for observatory, OB for observatory. Then of course, recently again in the news regarding fertility rate, instead of increasing, is decreased from 2.2 to 2. What is fertility rate? The number of children the mother is having. So here decline from this, from the statistics taken 2015-16. At that time it is, and how it be now. And women aged group is 25-49 was taken to consideration. Then another old scheme but still in the news, MP lots. Recently there is a demand from the members of the parliament to increase the existing allocation of the amount. Instead of it, the central government issued some norms. It revised the norms for utilization of this money. Okay, instead of increasing, because there is allegation that it was misused and abused. So MP lots, what is the full form? Member of Parliament, local area development scheme, local area development scheme. So the government will not give, because this is a central scheme, no doubt, will not give the money directly to the MPs. It's under the district collector. Only thing is he can recommend the works, do this works. And allegation most of the timing is MPs polluting with the contractors. Okay, government will allocate and they will take. And there are allegations that 80% amount will be taken by the MPs. Only 20% was spent on the ground. So this is how innumerable allegations are there. So regarding this, this done. So when this scheme was introduced in the beginning, starting old scheme when, so long back when you are saying this, when 1993, the first time it was launched during the PV Narasimha Rao's government. So initially 50 lakhs, now it turned to 5 crores. Then come to international. Sri Lanka at last have the new prime minister. So amid controversy, of course, linked with the Sri Lankan crisis, especially the economic crisis, the prime minister resigned. So the new prime minister taken over. So who is the prime minister resigned? Ranil Wickremesinghe, now the new Prime Minister. Who the Prime Minister resigned? Mahinda Rajapaksa. So 9th May he resigned and immediately it is. So previously too the Prime Minister and presently is the leader of the United National Party. So 90 to 94, 2001 to vote, 15 to 18, even 18 to 19, the thing is concerned. So let us wait and see whether anything positive is going to happen in Sri Lanka. Then one more Prime Minister is also now neighboring Imran Khan. Is he resigned or forced to go? And no confidence motion was this. And who is the present Prime Minister of Pakistan? Sharif. Shehbaz Sharif. Is not resigned. Okay, he was removed by no confidence motion or confidence motion. Removed by confidence motion or no confidence. What's the difference? Both are same. It's all who introduced. If the opposition introduced the motion, it's called no confidence. If the ruling party itself introduced a confidence motion. If the governor ordered or president ordered, what it is called, or Supreme Court ordered to prove your majority on the floor of the house, it's called floor test. Ultimate consequence is the same. Procedure is the same, but wording is different. So these three words you have to keep in mind. Okay. Then one more recent thing is the Bangladesh, India, and Nepal, they finalized BBIN motor vehicles agreement. Actually, BBIN stands for Bhutan, Bangladesh, also there, right? India, Nepal. But one B, that is Bhutan, has not ratified this treaty, so it is pending since then. As because of an ecological issues, it's very difficult for it. So that let us go ahead. So leaving Bhutan aside, this motor vehicles agreement is implemented. So still that BBN is there. Okay. Technically it's called as, so they are given time to Bhutan now to accept it. Other countries are going. So motor vehicles agreement is what for? It is for seamless connectivity. Okay. Now on your own vehicle you can travel to Nepal, Bangladesh without changing the vehicles. Previously you have to change the vehicle or you have to take the permission before. And the transport goods related, 100% you have to change the vehicle. Your vehicle will not, your auto will not go to that side at all, or your any transport vehicle. Now it is not the case. Like our state movement, interstate, like this inter-country movement is going to be happen. And it's become very easy. For example, this is how the structure from Calcutta to even our own part via Bangladesh. Okay, Dhaka, you can go to our northeast part is concerned, and Siliguri corridor onwards to Dhaka to Agartala. So instead of you moving like this, so for India, it's very much the useful link part is concerned. Okay, so it is cutting short the distance. It is. Okay? Of course, entry exit points are there. You need not worry about that. Then last one, the issue of what is this? Kachetu Island recently came up. What is that? Kachetu Island. Why in the news now? Now the Sri Lanka is facing a crisis. Okay, and number of Indians in Sri Lanka too coming. Okay, Indian origin people to India, that itself is getting affected. And in addition to India is helping Sri Lanka in the form of grants, aid, and others. So very much Sri Lanka is now dependent on India. So taking this dependency, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, or we can say the Tamil Nadu government, has invoked That means already invoked a demand that the Kachadiv island should get back. Let us take back this island. We should back to India. Okay. So the Tamil Nadu government is forcibly putting forward this issue. So because this issue again started discussing, so that become a matter. So once upon a time, Kachadiv island is part of India, but in 1974 and as well as 1976 agreement, two agreements, international agreements. So we transferred this small Kachadiv uninhabited island to Sri Lanka. No, so technically it is with Sri Lanka, uninhabited. Only one church, St. Thomas Church, okay, the Christian church, that is only there, and only during that December 25th, few person will go and back. Nobody stays there. Okay, and Indians or fishermen are using it as that is a border point. That is one thing, and secondly is as per 76 agreements, our fishermen can go there and stay there and back. So they can okay use the nets related as some sort of rest place for them. But it's not ours. Once you cross that, yes, the fishermen may be arrested by the Sri Lankans. Okay. And Jayalalitha, when she was the chief minister, she filed a case in the Supreme Court stating that Kachadiv island should be given back to India and declared that transfer as illegal. Is going against the very Article 1, right? How can you, without the constitutional amendment, transfer all the cases and everything is that? So still that case is pending in the Supreme Court. So we have to wait and see what is going to be happen here. And in this context, you have remembered also the boundary line between India and Sri Lanka is called as Fox Strait. Of course, as is not a land border, like Ladcliffe line, McMahon line, those are their land borders, but here land border. As the strait it is, so the Fox Strait is in between. So we call this one, and it's here. This is Rameshwaram, right? You'll find it's hardly 31 nautical miles the distance. Because when it is less than, because 12 nautical miles is our territorial waters. You have full sovereignty. Latter, EEZ. EEZ means exclusive economic zone that extend up to 200 nautical miles, but you don't have that much. Then a midway will be taken into consideration at that time. Okay, a midpoint, and that midpoint it is coming exactly in the middle. So once exact in the middle, India or Bangladesh. As 1971, we helped the Bangladesh origin, right? So with that generosity, the Mrs. Gandhi then delivered it to the parties concerned. So that is become a question mark now. Previously, it is under India. So why can't you take back that issue? That is a crucial demand. So these are the issues that we have to keep in mind. And of course, last thing, another regarding Tamil Nadu, maybe, is India's first state to offer breakfast along with the midday meal. So, as they understood very clearly that the few children are coming without the breakfast and waiting for the lunch, and with a hungry stomach, they are not able to. So, keeping that in mind, the first time the breakfast too was introduced. So, breakfast scheme for the primary only, not for the first two people. Okay, not for you and me and the way, only for the okay, the thing is concerned. So, as a Tamil Nadu issue, this point also advisable to keep it up. So, that's all the issues for today. So, any doubts, clarifications? Hmm? Are you revising it? Previous? Looking into your monthly current affairs bulletins? because repetition is infallible technique of memory, nothing else. Okay. So now and then have the glance. Okay, don't follow the approach of LKG, UKG. Okay, no odd, not required any order, not required any by heart. Have the glance innumerable times, 100 maybe 1000 times, doesn't matter. Okay, whatever topics, be thorough with that, and that will come. Okay, right. So thank you very much. Bye for today.